If you're a naturally skinny guy, you probably feel like no matter how much you eat, you just can't gain weight. I actually used to be like that. I used to be very skinny, and it turns out there is stuff you can do to actually gain weight. So my aim with this video is for you to come away from watching this feeling like you now know what to do to actually see the scale weight finally go up. So first of all, you need to understand your maintenance calories. There's simple ways to do this. You can go on these websites, find out your maintenance calories, and that will give you a rough guide. So mine, for example, is about 2,700, 2,800. And so I know that if I eat more than that, I'm going to gain weight. If you're the sort of person that's a hard gainer, you find it hard to put on weight, yours might be 3,000, something like that. The easiest way to figure that out is if you weigh yourself and your weight doesn't change for a week and you're eating the same thing every day, you're probably eating maintenance. So once you figure that out, you then need to add roughly 300 to 500 calories onto that. And that will give you a good idea about how much you need to eat. And then next, once you figure that out, you need to get okay with feeling full. Like, it's not going to be easy for you to gain weight, but you have to realise your goal and realise it's not going to be easy, but you have to get it done anyway. Because really, if you want to put on weight, what choice do you have? So you need to get uncomfortable. You need to be okay with being slightly uncomfortable with being full. Then also, once you've figured out that you need to eat more, you need to focus on calorie-dense foods. So if you're making shakes, for example, which I definitely recommend you do, make sure you're putting stuff like nut butter, as in peanut butter and almond butter and stuff, olive oil, all that sort of stuff. The stuff that has a lot of calories in, put that in your food, because that's going to bump the calories up. So for a little hack, for example, if you're making pasta or any sort of meat, if you add a tablespoon of olive oil to your food, you're going to get an extra 120 calories. So 2 tablespoons, 240. You can do it that way. But what I would say with that is the temptation is to eat unhealthy food that's very high in calories. I tend to not recommend that. If you really struggle, that might be the answer for you, but I really doubt it is the answer, because ultimately that stuff just makes you fat and spotty. And the last thing you want is to go from being skinny to skinny fat and spotty. It's not a good look, trust me. And this should obviously be a given, but you should be focusing on strength training. You should be actively trying to get stronger and bigger, because ultimately if you do manage to eat in a surplus, you need to make sure those calories are going to good use and you're actually putting them towards gaining size. And then with everything, consistency is going to be your friend. If you're having one big meal, yes, that's good, but if you have that over the course of a week, one good meal a week, it's not going to make a difference. You need to be consistently eating a lot of food, because that's really going to be your answer, and that's the way you're going to gain the weight. And going back to the training as well, you're going to have to realise that the answer probably is the food. Most people, their issue isn't the training. I was actually talking to someone in the gym today who really struggles to gain weight, and I was looking at his training, and he's consistently showing up in the gym 6 days a week. I watched him train hard. He knows how to train, but his weight's not going up. And you have to really just appreciate the fact that if you're training consistently in the gym and you're training hard and the weight's not going up, it is the food. So you have to be honest with yourself and try and fix your training, but often if you struggle to gain weight, it's not the training. As long as you're showing up consistently and pushing yourself hard, that's good enough. You also have to get your mindset right, because if you just put the fact you're not making any scale improvements down to the fact that you're a hard gainer, that's not the right mentality. Yes, it might be a fact that you struggle to gain weight, but if you fixate on that, you're just going to basically become a victim. If you struggle to gain weight, I promise you, if you eat enough, you will gain weight. If you're not gaining weight right now, you need to eat more. And honestly, the best way to track that is weigh yourself every day, okay? If the weight doesn't go up, you need to add calories. That's literally it. I'm sorry, but that's honestly the answer. Something that I think is really overlooked when it comes to bulking as well is meal prepping. Most people's perception of meal prep is to lose weight, because you think you're going to eat a set amount of calories and then you can track your weight a lot easier. Meal prep is actually very good as well if you struggle to put on weight. Basically, whichever direction you struggle, you should meal prep for it. So for me, bulking is not an issue. I can gain weight pretty easily. but I find it harder to lose weight, mainly because of the calorie tracking element of it. So what I tend to do is meal prep for when I'm cutting, and then just more or less eat what I want when I bulk, because I know how to bulk, I know roughly what I need to eat in a day just by eyeballing it. But when I'm cutting, I'm meal prepping. So right now I'm eating about 2,200 calories a day, because I've had to drop my calories again. I'm meal prepping, so I know I'm eating exactly the same thing every day, and I know it's the right stuff. And the same goes for if you struggle to put on weight, you need to be meal prepping, because that way, if you eat exactly what you've meal prepped, then you know you're going to hit your calories. And that's all there is to it, really. I promise you, the answer is the calories. And it's not going to be impossible for you to gain weight, you just need to eat more. And also think of it like this: what's the alternative? You find it hard to gain weight, you just give up and not even try? Doesn't sound like much of a solution to me. If I was you, I would actually keep trying, try to gain the weight, eat more, meal prep. You can do it. Now, as much as this isn't an ad for my coaching, what I will say is that often it's easier to just have someone take the guesswork out of it for you. So in my coaching, what I do is I basically will work out what someone needs to eat and figure out a way to structure their nutrition where it's also sustainable. Because something you'll find is that there'll be certain times of the day when you're hungrier than others. So for me, when I'm cutting, for example, I'm not eating much in the morning because I don't get hungry in the morning. And so if you find there's a certain time of day where you get the most hungry, put most of your food there. With my coaching, I take a lot of the guesswork out of it for you. So if you need any help with that, there's a link down below. Follow through to that. My coaching's there because I think that would really help a lot of you. And I've also created a 30 ways in 30 days to maximize your gym gains. It's a completely free guide. It comes through on emails. So if you're interested in that, click the link below, because if you're a hard gainer, there's plenty of stuff in there to help improve your training and nutrition. But I really hope you've enjoyed this and you've taken something from this. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to hit subscribe below, and I will see you in the next video.